What's up, you sweaty nerds and greasy degenerates? The current state of Honkai Star Rail is actually so dire, so bad, that I'm whipping out an old intro that I barely even use anymore. I was recently recommended a short by Darkos88, which led me to a Tectone video that also intermingled with MrPokke, most of it consisting of the fact that the Chinese players, the CN players, are actually upset with Honkai Star Rail as well, in a big way. They don't usually go after the devs, they don't usually complain in mass about the game, but whenever they do, they're at their wits' end, and they all finally just collect together, and they get stuff done. Basically, every single time the CN players get together in mass and try to make a big change with the game and try to go after the devs to seek some kind of improvement, they typically succeed. So real quick, before we get into the nitty-gritty here, we'll go over the current game state of the game and what's wrong with it. But first, if you like this kind of content, consider leaving a like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel, and we cover a bunch of different gacha games here. Now, arguably the worst thing that happened recently with Honkai Star Rail was the 3.0 launch. This was supposed to be a big deal, and it kinda just fell flat. It was not hitting the G-spot, bro, okay? Mr. Krabs wasn't feeling it yet, if you know what I mean. And then, of course, we have the fact that basically every single character banner, they try to make every single character seem like a must-pull. I mean, obviously, they do encourage you to want to pull the new characters, but in the past, it wasn't this bad, right? Even during filler patches, they're releasing banger characters, bro. 2.7 had Sunday and Fugue. If you're playing the breaks meta, you're gonna want Fugue. Regardless of what team you're playing, you're gonna want Sunday. He's one of the best characters in the game, and the fact that we're going to be going into a summoner meta, regardless of whether it's memo sprites or like previous summons we had like Jing Yuan or Topaz, you're gonna want Sunday because he buffs them all, and he doesn't even need to be on a summoner team for him to pop the heck off. He's one of the best supports for the Herta, in some cases might even outperform Robin under the right conditions, right? That's just a filler patch, bro. Rappa was arguably on the worst patch of Honkai Star Rail history. I think 2.6 was the worst, and Rappa straight up obliterates content when you are playing her on like even a just halfway decent break team. She can clear the current MOC 12 side 1 with ease, even on a non-optimal team, bro. And that ties into the most recent, I don't know if you'd call it drama, but certainly problem with Honkai Star Rail, and that's the current Memory of Chaos that just dropped is total ass, bro, okay? Right, yeah, veteran play, oh, look at me, I'm so cool, I farmed out the best relics, and I have super strong teams, and oh, look at me, I'm a veteran player. Bro, we get it. Sweats can clear, that's not the problem. I didn't struggle clearing at all. That's not the problem, right? For players that are even veterans, that are just a bit more casual, they haven't farmed out like new gear or proper gear in a long time, and they just log in, have fun trying to play the game. Bro, veteran players in some cases are struggling to clear Memory of Chaos 10, not 12. 10. Okay, bro? And I do like to cater to a free-to-play or light spender experience. I think that that's very important to the state of the game, right? Most players are casual. Most of the players are going to struggle with the current Memory of Chaos. That's not good for the game. Even CN players, which are, you know, held to high praise for like having really good gameplay and everything like that, even at a casual level, they're complaining about this because they're even recognizing that even if they managed to clear, it was still a bit of an issue. This isn't like, this reminds me of Dark Souls players that feel like entitled to be elitist just because they beat the game or something like that. Like, bro, shut the hell up. No one cares, okay? No one cares that you're a sweat and that you grinded out amazing relics to be able to clear content. We're not talking about you, but we are talking about most of the player base. And if you want to feel some sense of pride for clearing Memory of Chaos, go right ahead and do so, right? That's what it's there for, right? It's supposed to be a fun and interesting challenge for endgame players, right? But that's the thing, it's supposed to be fun. And dude, a boss like Nikador was actually well designed. We've been wanting stuff like this for a while now. Not all of the bosses actually have interesting mechanics or fun, cool, and out-of-the-box gameplay. But he actually does. The problem is that his HP is insanely high. And a lot of people are complaining about that and don't necessarily recognize the fact that most of the damage that he dies from is self-inflicted from himself. All you have to do is defeat the ads in the boss fight, and most of the damage that's dealt to him is not from you, bucko. It's from the ads that you defeat dealing him that damage. It's from his own in-game mechanics. But he still has too much HP. You can tell that the devs did not playtest this properly with a reasonable or relatable team, right? Now, when you have players that are struggling to clear Memory of Chaos 10, okay, even certain veterans are struggling to clear Memory of Chaos 10, that screams that the devs did not play the actual game. They did not play this Memory of Chaos themselves enough to understand that they simply did not. This HP inflation thing has been getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and they just don't seem to care. Even the Arumaton boss was actually a good enemy. He's an elite enemy that I think was well designed, but in the current environment that he's in that particular Memory of Chaos, it's not fun and enjoyable, bro. It's like they took one step in the right direction and then 2 steps back, okay? Now, I've heard tell that the Memory of Chaos that will be coming after this is supposed to be a lot better. It's not supposed to have as much HP inflation and et cetera, whatever. All these different factors will come into play, but I've heard it's supposed to be better. I don't have a guarantee if that's actually going to be a thing or not, so just be prepared that that may not happen. And something that a lot of players might not necessarily care about or be thinking about is the accelerated rerun process that they have going on right now. Dude, 3.0 has a fucking insane amount of rerun characters, and some of them are actually really worth your pull, right? Like Robin, for example, is a really, really good character that I think she's the best character in the game right now, bro. If you can get her, go for it, bro. Yes, Triby's going to be coming out really, really soon, but you use more than one support character in the game, right? So why not have 2 good support characters in the game? I don't understand this logic of like, guys, don't listen to him. Don't pull Robin because Triby's coming out. It's like, bro, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Are you actually some insane person that only plays one support in endgame? You have one support, so your second team doesn't have supports for some reason? Get out of town, okay? Anyways, back on topic. I'm gonna try to justify this for Hoyoverse, but I don't agree with the choice that was made here. And I think the reason why they're accelerating the rerun process is to give new units their reruns sooner without having players feel bad that certain characters were skipped along the way. Look at Genshin Impact, for example. They only release 1 premium per patch, by the way. Honkai Star releases 2, so they're going to have a way bigger issue with this. But Eula, one of her reruns took 2 years for her to finally get her rerun. That's crazy. And people weren't very happy about that because by the time she finally got that rerun, you know, certain people did pull, but most players just didn't care anymore. Despite the fact that she has that fat, juicy ass, people, believe it or not, were like, nah, I'm good. Obviously, meta is involved with that, but they didn't probably want the same situation in Honkai Star Rail where they give newer units all of this, you know, this rerun time, but they don't give older units much rerun time. And by the time they finally get their rerun, players won't care and players won't pull, right? And they do want to make their money, and they want to do it in a way that doesn't feel as scummy or messed up, because it does suck if somebody really likes a character, they had to skip them, or they couldn't, or they lost a 50-50, and they don't have a chance to pull them again, and by the time they get their rerun, they just don't care anymore, right? So it is a little bit scummy, but at the same time, I see why they did it. I just don't agree with the choice. I think they could have put a little more effort into it and lower the amount of reruns on banners and still release the newer units, you know, in a reasonable amount of time on a rerun. And this next issue is a little bit outside of Hoyoverse's hands, but they could have maybe dealt with the situation a little bit better, and they are dealing with the situation. And I'm talking, of course, about the voice acting for the English side of things. The English players we're missing most of the important dialogue for certain characters like Don Hung and Himiko, for example, which Don Hung was doing some heavy lifting with the dialogue in 3.0, but for the English players, he didn't say an actual word out loud. You had to read that shit yourself, and that's not very fun. And Hoyoverse is working with a new talent agency, okay? This problem is getting fixed. It's just taking them a while to fix it. So rather than rely on the strikes to end for the voice actors, they decided, hey, we'll go with the new talent agency. We'll work with the old, voice actors. We'll figure a way to fix this. So a little bit of a hats off moment to them, but at the same time, a multi-billion-dollar company could probably have fixed this a little sooner, because it's probably, I estimate 3.2 at the earliest that the English players will be getting the voice lines back for those old characters. New units might not have this issue, right? New units, new characters probably will just be with that new talent agency. But some of the old units that were part of the strike, unfortunately, those characters might not see their voice lines back for a little while. Now on to the presentation of Honkai Star Rail lately, because unfortunately in 3.0, this really showed how bad the presentation has been for Honkai Star Rail lately. And it sucks because I can tell Amphras has a really good story. There is something cooking, brewing underneath the poor storytelling that they've had recently, but it doesn't matter how good the story is on paper, right? If your presentation is bad, it will not matter, right? You could have a piece of gold that you're about to present to somebody, but if you present it to them covered in dog poop, it's not gonna feel like, oh, thanks for the gold. It's gonna be like, Jesus, why did you hand me a piece of dog poop? That's how it's gonna feel, and that's how 3.0 felt. But yeah, black screen with white text. The amount of puzzles that we got in 3.0, for example, was abysmal. Put those same puzzles into some type of event. Bro, the second half of 3.0 felt very empty. You put all of those puzzles into some event that has rewards rather than roadblocking us from the actual story we're there for and care about, dude. Now, we could be here for a while going over, like, nitpicking every little thing we don't like about the game, but I do feel like that covered most of the important things that we need Hoyoverse to work on in order to improve the game state of Honkai Star Rail. And if there's anything that you feel like I missed or that you want to add, go ahead and put that down below so we can have a discussion about it, and maybe it ends up in a future video, like talking point, etc., etc. But I do want to also point out that some people are going to get upset. They're upset that I'm upset. Why do you play the game if you hate the game? Why do you make videos about the game if you hate the game, bro? I don't hate the game. I don't think the game's a bad game. I think it's a good game, but I think it's in a bad state right now. It's not headed in a good direction, which is unfortunate because in Forest, we can tell that they're cooking something like nice up there, right? But we're at a fork in the road right now where the devs could lead the car we're driving in on a nice road that everybody enjoys, that'll get us to that destination in a nice manner. Or we could go the other way, which goes off-road across rocks and a bunch of stuff that nobody enjoys, right? So we're sitting in the back of the car like, hey, devs, like, bro, don't go that way. We don't like that dark, gloomy, sad road. We don't like that. Go down this road, which has a nice view of the ocean on the side of it. Like, go down this nice road we all like and enjoy. That's essentially, metaphorically, what we're doing right now with complaining about the current game state. We want the game to be good. If the game was good, none of us would be complaining about the game if we're being reasonable with ourselves. But the devs are the ones not being reasonable, and we're here to call that out. That's why Tectone complains about the game right now. That's why even MrPokke sometimes will admit, despite the fact that he defends the game sometimes when he shouldn't be, even Pokke will sometimes admit that there's problems with the game, bro, right? That's why we're doing this, okay? So if you like this kind of stuff, consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.